So Arc Raiders is here and it's time to talk XP. Of course, the game just came out, enjoy it at whatever pace you'd like, don't burn yourself out, but with things like skill points being tethered to level progression and some of the things you really want to make sure you get sooner rather than later, being probably behind like 20 to 30 levels or so to get them all, how can you progress that along while also gaining access to new gear, cosmetics, and more? Today we're taking a look at a comprehensive XP guide, letting you know what grants XP in what ways, and the surprisingly most efficient ways to maximize your yields. So drop your thoughts, drop a like, and make sure to subscribe to stay updated with all things Arc Raiders among other FPS content. We're chasing down 700,000 subscribers, so I'd love to have the community as we push towards that goal together. But for now, let's get into it. So firstly, what grants you XP within Arc Raiders? Well, there's a handful of things that you will end up being able to get XP from, and you'll see a lot of this coming from your after action report of sorts once you finish a raid. What it explicitly will tell you you can get XP from is scavenging, which is basically just looting, damaging Arc machines, destroying Arc machines, getting the assists on destroying Arc machines, damaging raiders or just simply putting any shots into them, knocking out raiders, which is knocking them down and then killing them, raider assists, exploring, time on surface, and a safe return bonus. All of that is reported in your after action report. You also will end up getting XP from damage bonuses as well as mid to late game quests that end up coming along with that. So let's take a look at these categorically. Scavenging and sort of like any sort of discovery type stuff. Scavenging, this is truly every single locker, bag, crate, drawer, Arc machine, raider bag, so on and so forth. Every single thing that has a singular piece of loot, or rather the potential for loot, grants you scavenging XP. Now I say that last part with the potential for loot very deliberately because there's a little piece of information that's great you want to keep in mind for how you end up approaching Arc Raiders and the sort of XP gains. But anyways, looting a standard locker, bag, crate, and so on grants you 200 XP per searched item. Looting Arc probes, barren husks, larger, downed, and decaying Arc machines, that's 500 XP. And then raiders or other corpses are also another 500 XP. But one thing you'll want to take a look at when, again, it comes to your XP yield with Arc Raiders in the after action report is just how much of your XP yield from a raid comes directly from scavenging. Like, it's kind of surprising how much emphasis there is on looting. Oftentimes it becomes your main source of XP from the entirety of your raid. But coming back to it, the deliberate mention of everything that has potential for loot granting XP, it does not need to have loot in order for it to grant XP. So if you really want to max things out, hit absolutely everything that you can interact with when you're running with a squad or solo. Hit up those empty containers that are already cleared out or left by some other raiders or your squad. Hit up those things that even if you end up getting to an entirely different part of the map that you're like, oh, somebody's been here, still look in those containers because you will end up getting 200 XP every single time. Same thing with those husks that have already been opened or larger Arc machines. You can still interact with that and check them out. It's gonna still give you that XP. So that's an insanely good way to min-max on everything, just truly loot everything. Now, exploring seems to be like it's something that we can throw into this discovery-related topic, where it seems like when you find a new area of the map, that's when you'll get that 200 XP bonus. So rather inconsequential for like the XP that we just talked about and the potential there, but still a way that you can end up getting additional XP. Destroying Arc machines will be varied in their XP values, where smaller Arc machines are 100 XP and a damage bonus you'll get for additional XP. Heavier Arc types, though, are 500 XP plus, like Rocketeers being 500. I don't quite know that I've seen the Queen or anything just yet in the launch build and what that XP yield would be if you end up taking that down to give like a sort of minimum threshold of that 500 XP to where it goes in terms of further scaling. But additionally, combat is a way to grant a decent amount of XP. However, not even to be like the I'm questing, stop trying to PvP me immediately type guy, but like I'm actually a little surprised how minimal emphasis on PvP there is XP wise comparatively. So for a breakdown, you'll end up getting 500 XP per knock or kill and 250 XP per assist on raiders if you do damage with that and also end up helping to contribute to that down. So unless you're solely going for PvP in the game, getting like 6 kills per match, I mean, you could probably do the quick math here. If you're just looting everything, you're more than likely going to end up getting more XP for just simply looting than actually going for those kills, putting your hard-earned loot into danger as well. So kind of fascinating the way they balanced that all, but the final big part here that you'll definitely notice is time spent surviving. This is your time spent topside in match, literally just as long as you were in the game. Surprisingly, again, this is a really nice total, and I feel like that's actually pretty nice because it truly is incentivizing you to just play the game. Like, as dumb as that sounds, yes, you're gonna get XP for playing the game. Woohoo, that's the best tip you could ever give me, Espresso. Good job. But like, I feel like a lot of games don't really prioritize your time comparatively and in a way that it's actually like, it's something that seems appreciated, if that makes sense. Like, this, along with scavenging, are the two biggest ways to easily get XP and will often be the bulk of that XP yield. Now, this naturally goes up with every minute more you spend topside. The average you'll likely see is just around 3 XP per second topside, equating out to roughly 180 XP per minute. I was getting anywhere from like 174 XP was my lowest to 180 XP per minute, so I still have yet to figure out and nail down that discrepancy, why it's slightly different match per match. But for big picture stuff, that 180 XP per minute mark is a relatively solid average that we can stick to. Like, you can almost put money down on that. It's going to be give or take like 5 XP away from that every single minute on average. Then you also have the ability to get a safe return bonus. This bonus is XP for simply returning to Speranza, safely extracting, literally just making it out alive. I'm thinking based off of early-ish calculations, like I've got 7 hours of game time as of recording this earlier in the morning of launch day with the full launch version of the game, that it seems to be proportional to the time spent in world and in match, meaning the longer you stay in, the larger of a percentage bonus you'll end up getting back. So it's not a static rate or anything, it seems like, at the moment. Now, is it anything that like really greatly incentivizes you to stay to the very end? Not necessarily. Like, if you're in danger and you are trying to get out with all your stuff, I wouldn't necessarily risk that. That difference will be relatively minimal, but you will see that the longer you stay in does grant a bit more XP. And finally, questing is also something that looks to offer a decent amount of XP, but personally speaking, I'm still in the introductory quests. Like, there is quite a few of them. I think I'm like 10, 15 deep, and I'm still not to the portions where they grant XP just yet. But if it follows the same blueprint as the tech tests months ago before the launch of the game, XP was something that did follow within the quest lines that you had on offer, offering up a few thousand XP per quest completion, which is actually rather impressive. Again, they do get harder, so it's not going to be something you'll probably be able to nail every single match consistently, but it's a nice little bonus here for doing extra in-game challenges. So, that said, what is the best way to min-max at that point? Well, personally speaking, and what I think objectively holds up with the numbers I've got laid out in front of me looking at them, PvE players, this is your jam. Like, despite the obvious ever-present threat of other players' intentions, like, we tried to make friends earlier and everybody shot on sight first. Like, it was one of those things, the only people that we were cordial with and actually had like a cool interaction with was a team that was shorthanded trying to extract, where we had absolutely them pinned down. They're like, please, we're just trying to extract. So we let them go. But other than that, every single game that we came in contact with people, yeah, we got shot on first. So the danger of other raiders is absolutely always going to be there, but I'd recommend venturing topside, looting as much as possible. If you want to stay to the outskirts, you can, but of course there's a lot more high-level loot and a lot more lootable things as you get closer to the interior of each of these maps available on offer. But venture topside, loot as much as you can, and stay in the match as long as you can. That, funnily enough, will produce the most XP in bulk in the least problematic or stressful ways. If you can extract as well, that's phenomenal, and only boosts that yield even more, as does the later game contracts or quests once you get to them. Now, if you're confident in your skills, loadout you have on yourself, and the right conditions, you can PvP for those additional XP bonuses, because yeah, that is nice to get 2 kills and an extra 1,000 XP, but I'll tell you, rocking a ton of free loadouts and just going around looting, opening everything up, produced 3 to 4 times more XP with the most ease in just about every single raid that I went into. So while sure, that may not sound like your jam if you love PvP, you have to consider that for the purpose of this video, to efficiently maximize your XP yields in as stress-free a manner as possible, this is probably what I would recommend the most. But anyways, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Just want to fill you guys in on a quick little XP guide here, what I've found helpful through the first day here or so. Maybe if I can end up finding something else to really compound on this, we might revisit this at a later date. But for right now, this seems pretty standard, pretty straightforward. All the XP yields carried over basically from what we had for the tech test, the server slam, and where we are now, where it's all, again, pretty straightforward. So hopefully this helped you out in some way, shape, or form, where you can end up having this information on hand. You can go in and min-max a little bit and hopefully rank up so you can get whatever you'd like in Arc Raiders a little faster. But for now, that's going to wrap it up. Drop your thoughts down below, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Arc Raiders and other FPS content. Love to have in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care, and peace.